Now, before we get this video off, I'm just going to say right now, I think Tom Wilson is a disgusting piece of garbage human being, and I don't say that lightly. This guy is an absolute joke, and I'm not going to lie, I like the Washington Capitals, I always have, but their team today it is an absolute joke. I can't believe they made a tweet like this coming out immediately after all of the hate and after everything transpired in that game with the Rangers, and to have a tweet like this be thrown up on your official Twitter account from an NHL franchise is an absolute joke. Hopefully the guy that runs their Twitter account got fired for ever thinking this is a good idea, and hopefully the supervisor or whoever approved such a tweet is also fired or never works in hockey again, because this is disgusting, and I am all for hitting. I'm all for fighting and hitting, actually. In fact, I'm more in favor of it than a lot of other people are, and I think it has bigger place in the game than some of the modern-day fans tend to realize. That does not change the fact that what Tom Wilson did is not hitting, it's not fighting, it's not playing good hockey and physical hockey, it's just being a criminal. It's as plain as that. You like to go back, people like to reflect on the whole Todd Bertuzzi issue and stuff like that and call that a criminal move and how horrible that was. This was a little bit harder. Like, if Wilson leaned in a little harder onto Buchnevich's neck or whatever the situation is, that it could be a repeat of that type of situation where the guy is in the hospital never playing hockey again, because let's be real, it was that risky of a play and that dangerous of a play. And not to mention the fact that he just looks like a goof. Like, I still can't believe this photo of him in the press box, or the penalty box, excuse me, after. Like, that is just the pose of a high school bully that's like, you mad, bro? Like, come on, get the hell out of here. You're supposed to be a professional, and that's your attitude after basically trying to kill a guy? Like, get the fuck out of here with that. That's garbage, absolute garbage, and it has no place in the game, and I don't think anyone disagrees with that. But what I want to talk about in this video in particular isn't just the fact that Tom Wilson's a piece of garbage, but the fact that the league is just so weird about this and how they handled it. And yeah, I think they got it wrong. 5K is nothing. This guy should be out for the rest of the season, including the playoffs. There's no doubt about that. But what I want to reflect on is actually a little bit interesting, because as a Jets fan, when I saw this play, it just sparked up the old memory bank in my head, and I was like, damn, a similar play like this actually happened, ironically, 6 years ago against the Rangers, and the Winnipeg Jets were the culprits. And if you don't know the play I'm talking about, don't worry, I'm going to talk about it in depth, because that's what this video is about, how a play like this against the same team, ironically, 6 years ago, in a very similar fashion, in a same type of injury, in a exact same type of play, very similar, got a 4-game suspension for Dustin Byfuglien, and Tom Wilson gets a $5,000 slap on the wrist as a repeat offender. And Dustin Byfuglien at this time was a repeat offender as well, being suspended before in the past, but not even close to having the reputation that Tom Wilson has, never would in his career. Because yeah, Byfuglien's a big guy that loves to hit, but Byfuglien doesn't go out trying to kill people every night. He tries to go league the big hits that the fans love to see, that really can jumpstart your bench. We all know that, and it's honestly just been Dustin Byfuglien's makeup in his whole career, especially the time he spent with the Winnipeg Jets after that whole run he had as a forward, as slash defender with the Calgary and whatnot. And the Chicago Blackhawks. Point being, I want to talk about this hit, and I'm going to show it right now. So I'm not going to play the whole clip because I don't want the NHL to come and copyright my video, so I'm going to walk you through this with some images and whatnot of the actual video. So this is the play that I'm talking about in particular right here. I'm going to play the outcome of it in fast motion at once, and then you guys can see it. Right there. That is the exact play I'm talking about. Dustin Byfuglien pinning Miller down on the ice, March 31st, 2015. Exactly what I'm talking about 6 years ago. And you can see, if you didn't see it fast motion, I'm going to slow it down for you right now. Here is the play right now. Ondrej Pavel makes a glove save off of the shot from the point, and Miller is in the crease, crashing hard. Obviously something that he does, and just what you do in the NHL level. And then as you watch, right there, he goes onto his foot and he falls. At that moment, he's falling. Dustin Byfuglien sees what's happening and whatnot, and Miller is going down to the ice regardless at this point. As you can see, his feet are off the ice and he is in the motion of falling. And then you have Dustin Byfuglien come in. Miller is already on the ground, similar to what we saw with Buchnevich, and Dustin Byfuglien comes in with a vicious hit to the head in Miller and pushes him right in the exact same spot, same type of cross check, obviously with a lot more force, but the exact same intent in the exact same type of place off of a very similar play. And Miller, obviously, I believe, wasn't injured off of this play as well, and you can see it again, Stahl with the blast from the point, comes in on the shot, and there he is going down. Byfuglien comes in, bam, right there on the top of the numbers, on the back, on the neck, almost identical to where Buchnevich got hit. And that play right there, ladies and gentlemen, got 6 games for Dustin Byfuglien. Now, the whole reason why I brought up that play to begin with was the fact that it is almost identical in a way to what happened with Buchnevich. Obviously, it's very similar, different circumstances and whatnot, and obviously the Byfuglien case is more vicious. But what I bring this out about is that, in my opinion, that Byfuglien hit, he was lucky to get 4 games at that point. Late in the season, a repeat offender at that point, and a very dangerous action. And Byfuglien only got 4 games, but 4 games was still a suspension. 4 games is much more justified, even though it's not, a great, obviously the best outcome you could have from that hit, obviously, but 4 games is still better than $5,000 out of a multimillionaire's pocket. Obviously, right? Like, no one's going to be taking that away from any type of situation here. I don't care if you're not making $1 million a game. If you're a smart NHL player, you should have millions of dollars. You should be well financially, set for the rest of your life, even after playing for a little bit. And Tom Wilson's on a pretty nice deal nonetheless. Point being, if Dustin Byfuglien is going to be that type of player, an all-star nonetheless that year, make a play like that, get suspended for 4 games late in the season, probably could have been even 10, and then that's $5,000 fine you give to a repeat offender, a guy who has injured multiple players, who has been horrible reputation, and is developing into the next Raffi Torres. I think you could say it like, yeah, he's a good player, but that's what he is. Raffi Torres was a high-round draft pick. Do I have to remind you of that? Guys can be goons no matter how good you are at scoring, and that's exactly what Tom Wilson is, and he's a criminal, not even a goon at this point. And the whole reason why I bring up this whole Byfuglien issue is because if that gets 4 games for an all-star guy, similar situation, similar play, against the exact same team 6 years ago, yet in 2021, where the game is at its most dynamic, the fastest it's ever played, with the most skilled players the league's probably seen since the 80s, mind you, and that's when the 80s you could beat anyone and get goals if you were playing with Gretzky, because you didn't have to raise the puck very high. Nowadays, you actually have to be an elite player to get those type of goal totals, and guess what guys do? And to have a guy like Panarin come in, get injured for the rest of the season off of the result of this, Buchnevich almost have his career ended because it easily could have, and if you're saying it, well, a week, what are you talking about? You don't know hockey, and I don't want you near my comments, and if you're commenting that type of stuff, I will ban you from this channel, because that just shows you know nothing of the game of hockey. I love hitting, but the head is off limits. You can die and be seriously messed up for the rest of your life getting hit to the head. I know kids that got hit on the head by a volleyball, and they had horrible concussions just because that was enough force to hit them on the right spot to send them into black rooms, basically, like horrible concussions, being out for the rest of our junior leagues. But when we were kids getting hit like that because of accidents, and you go out to intentionally hit someone in the head, get the hell out of here with that shit. We do not need that stuff in sports. We need hitting. We need fighting. You want to have that in sports? Go for it. But this is just being a criminal on skates and being paid millions of dollars to have kids wear your jerseys and a fan base be so deluded by you being able to score goals and think that you're a good and clean player. Like, get out of here with that. I don't care if Tom Wilson donates the rest of his salary to charity for the rest of this year. It doesn't take away the fact that he's a horrible piece of shit human being, and you can't give me he's caught up in the moment. I played hockey. You can go to any goon, any player that's talked about this. Even John Scott, who was like notorious, one of the biggest goons in hockey, a very big goon, and even he says that this was bullshit. So many people are coming out and talking about this, and yet you have those those stupid people out there that even think that, oh, there's nothing wrong with it. This is vicious, absolutely vicious. And you can't say that it's not, because it just is. It's just something you don't do in sports, in professional hockey. You don't hit for the head. In football even, they don't go for the head. And when you do, it's vicious, and it can end your career. And look what happens in football after hit linemen. People take years of being abused to the head in hits from the past and present. And how many people have died because of it? How many people suffer long-term brain injuries because of it? Not only caused by concussions, but because of things we don't even know about, because it takes years to really set in and really affect you. There have been so many hockey players, so many goons that have been affected by mental health issues stemmed from being hit way too many times in the head. Yet the league is just going to allow something like this because they think it's good for the game. Like, there's no excuse for it. Like, there isn't. You can't say it's good for the game. Hitting is great for the game. If you want to market the NHL as a really hitting league and pick that type of element back up in it, do it properly. If you want players to, you know what policing the game will look like for the next time they play? It will be unbearable. It'll be horrendous. It's going to be a bloodbath. And yeah, you might be thinking that's great for marketing because people are going to watch after something like this. But let me ask you this, the NHL, even though I know you're not watching, do you think it's really fair to have one game get a ton of views because you were so incompetent and fucked up you didn't handle something right because you allowed a player to act like a criminal on the ice, and that's what gets your viewership up to the number one franchise in the league? Thank God the Rangers PR team, and just as a franchise, went out and attacked the NHL and said that the guy who runs the player organization, the players' health organization and whatnot, should lose his job, because he should. This is just a joke. It's pathetic. I show the Byfuglien thing to show how even 6 years ago the NHL at least had the gall to suspend an all-star, and now they won't suspend Tom Wilson. Why? There's no excuse for it. They completely handled it wrongly, and now you're going to have a horrible situation where this is just going to just dilute into more and more issues that you're going to have more bloodbaths, more goons playing. And if you want hitting and fighting, that's great. But don't let the hitting and fighting stem from you being incompetent and allowing players to be criminals on the ice. I think that's just wrong, and I don't think it has a place in sports. Hitting in hockey is a part of the culture, but killing people on the ice shouldn't be, and it should even be considered clean for all that matter. Like, it's a joke if you think that. And I'm just tired of this, and I wanted to share my opinion because I just don't understand how Dustin Byfuglien can make a horrible play like that, get suspended 6 years ago for a very similar play in a very similar situation, and yet you don't have anything for this. I just don't understand how I don't understand it. That's as simple as it is. I'm going to leave it there because there's no point on me rambling on anymore about the NHL because they're not going to listen to the fans. They already haven't. They didn't listen to anyone before they even made their decision. It was obvious that the league probably wasn't going to give him out anything, and if they did, it probably would have been similar to this: 4 games, 5 games. I know he's been suspended a lot more than that, but think about it. Rafi Torres got 41 games for being an absolute goon and a criminal. Yet this guy's allowed to play still and go into the playoffs and be effective and lose $5,000 out of his multi-million-dollar bank account. Yeah, that seems like a fair trade-off for almost killing a guy on the ice. But NHL, you do you. You grow the league to all your new American viewers down there next season based off this type of crap and see how long you guys are actually considered a respectable franchise and a respectable league in North America. Because let me tell you, if you allow shit like this to transpire night in and night out, you are going down the toilet faster than I ever thought you would. These are my thoughts on the hit. Let me know all yours down in the comment section below. As always, if you're a fan of hockey, more importantly, a fan of the Winnipeg Jets, and a fan of any team, regardless of who you root for, definitely consider dropping a subscription as we're approaching that 1K subscriber mark. And having you guys on board on this journey would be absolutely wonderful and greatly appreciated. Follow all my socials down in the description as always. Turn on notifications if you haven't already to the channel. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace, love, and positivity. Hopefully something positive can come from this because already it doesn't look like it. Hopefully nothing like this will happen again because this is just criminal. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. Peace out. Take care. Whatever. See you later. Bye.